Are you ready, yo?
Like your radio, we need you to tune in.
We are stuck in a generational curse. We are not saying that religion is a curse, but it kind of got us there because we let this religion that was given to us by slave masters, our ancestors, were beaten to this religion even before the ancestors. When the Vatican, the Catholic Church, they went around literally killed people that went against them. The history of this religion alone is just brutal. Even though I felt like I always had a connection with God, the connection was more so just I would hear the voice every now and then. Like if I asked questions or I prayed back, I didn't really feel spiritually connected. Like I felt kind of alone. Like if I wasn't around anyone, I was alone. And that didn't make sense to me because if God is always with me, why didn't I feel it? Like why didn't I feel that connection? And so I realized that my connection with God wasn't what I thought. It wasn't as deep as I thought. So I decided to, let me read the Bible for myself. I don't really know too much about the Bible, like at this point, and I feel like I'm a Christian. I'm all into church. I'm in Bible study, but I still don't know everything that I need to know about the Bible. I felt, that what I need to know. So I started reading it. I read it actually front to back, like a book. I read it twice actually. I read the King James Version and New International Version. I took notes. Like I did everything that I thought I should do to get closer and more into my Christian faith. But after reading the Bible, it kind of just gave me more questions. Like now I was just even more confused. So I felt like I wanted to connect with my church family, and maybe get answers from them and maybe they can help me through some things. The church was more so you have to make appointments. You can't just go and maybe I watch too much TV, but you can't just go and talk to the pastor or talk to the reverend after church. You have to make an appointment. And when I tried to do that, okay, let me follow the rules. It's 3 months from the time that I needed to talk to him that his first opening was. So I felt like, how can I feel connected to a church that I can't even get advice from? Like I can't even talk to nobody. So again, I was stuck and feeling alone. I didn't want to again question too much. I didn't want to question God. I didn't want to feel like I was going against what I was taught. I didn't want to in fear of going to hell. Like I didn't want to go to hell because I had questions and I started to not believe everything that I was being taught. I started to feel like the things that I was being taught kind of contradict some of the things that's in the Bible. It was just, I felt like I needed more answers and I wasn't going to get them from the church. I wasn't going to get them, just from sitting around. So I started reading more. I started going to libraries. I even went to the Library of Congress. They have books and documents there that's not available at, our regular public libraries. Going there and reading and just reading and asking these questions, the little voice in my head all along that was telling me that it was okay to have these doubts and ask these questions started to kind of guide me in the direction of the answers I was looking for. It affected me a lot doing the research in the beginning, like the things that I was coming across. Even when I started, because I had a question, going beyond slavery, what were the Africans worshiping before they got over here? Were they Christians? Like, were they already reading the Bible before it was given to them? They weren't, because it was introduced to them over here after they got off the ships. So what was their means of worship before? Like what did they believe in? Like I started to have all these questions. So of course naturally you go to Egyptian mythology, and it's called mythology because it's like, it's fake and things like that. So, and it just kind of come off as dark, so you don't really get into it. Well, I got into it and I read, and the more I read, I'm like, Haru, one of kind of like I feel like was a main character. He is like man and has the head of a falcon. A lot of the things about him kind of started to make me wonder, and it made me dig deeper because he's said to be born on December 25th to the Virgin Mother Isis. He was baptized at the age of 30. He had 12 disciples. It was like, hold on, a lot of things were like kind of going hand in hand with Jesus. So the more and more research I started doing, it was like, it's very possible that not only Christianity, but like over 50 different like religions throughout different civilizations, took Egyptian mythology and kind of chopped and screwed it into their own thing. And that's kind of what we are given. Like, we have to really think for ourselves. We have to really open up our minds. We have to like start asking questions. We have to read, because the longer we stay mentally enslaved, the more like we're going to be physically oppressed. Like the more we're not going to be able to progress like as a race. We're not going to be able to like really get past all the trauma and things that we go through on a daily basis, that we see on the news, that we see on social media. The younger generation is looking at this. It's just going to be a continuous cycle of systematic oppression. So it's like the first step to kind of breaking this cycle is kind of freeing our minds. Like we have to let go of all that stuff that we were taught, that was beat into our ancestors. We have to let that go. We have to really pick up a book and read it. Like not just reading hood novels, not just reading books for entertainment. Like, even if you feel like you want to watch TV, the information is out there. In 2011, they passed the Freedom of Information Act, and they did that right under our nose. They started putting information on shows and things. But with that, all the entertainment, the social media, this whole wave just got even bigger. So the more information out there, the more distractions is out there on top of the information. You gotta get past the distractions and go straight to the information. The church will only give you, like, they will only teach certain scriptures in the Bible, but they won't teach everything. I have read some things in the Bible that I have never ever heard in church. Some things in the Bible that I'm like, why is this even in here? If this is like, our holy book, well, God couldn't have said this. This is nonsense, really. Like, so I feel like the church knows this, and instead of teaching this, like, why not teach people, like, just what it really is. It's a guide to get us to God. It's not meant to be taken literal. Like, you use this and you become a better person. Like, stop spreading hate, spread more love, get closer to God, get closer to source energy that God gives us to connect with God. Stop identifying God as an idol. Stop focusing on he or she or whatever gender God may be or may not be. Just focus more on like teaching truth, teaching things that will like really ultimately set us free from the mental enslavement that we are in. Even though I feel like our ancestors kind of mentally freed themselves with Christianity, making their own parts of it and branching off and doing their own thing and holding their own church services, it was something to kind of like take them away from the harsh realities that they were facing. But us to still be doing this 400-500 years later, we actually are mentally enslaving ourselves. So it's like they free themselves, but now we're enslaving ourselves. We have to break that chain. Like, we have to break that cycle. We have to like really like use it for what it's for and not for what they're telling us it's for. The more I was reading, the more I started to get into that, like the spiritual aspect of religion, the part that they kind of cut us out from, because I feel like we're cut off because the more we know, like the more we're like intact with the spiritual realm, we're not going to be easily controlled. Like, you're not going to be able to just tell us something and we're going to go with it. Like, we're going to start like, no, that's not right. We're going to have a more sense of what's right and what's wrong and what we should do and what we should not do. Like, even if they're saying it's okay, we're going to know in our hearts, like, this is not okay. Like, God is connected there in our hearts. That's where you feel God the most. You know, it's not nowhere like in a building. It's not there. It's in your heart. Everybody has that connection. But if you cut yourself off from that connection, you're not going to feel it. If you're unaware of that's where the connection is, you're not going to feel it. Like, you're not going to know it's there.